What up, what up, what up? Hey, everybody out there in podcast land. This is your host, Keith Butler, and my co-host,
Jeffrey Lowe.
Yeah, we'd like to welcome you back to The Hook, coming to you from the Six-Hole Studio, located here in Detroit, off the Detroit Golf Club.
Yes.
It's a cold, climate day. Snow's drying up, melting away.
Drying up.
Melting away. Okay, Jeff, whatever, man. It's going, all right?
Yeah, it is.
Damn.
It is melting.
We're going to have semantics. We're going to go with...
I didn't know snow could dry up, but that's okay. But that's all right.
You know what I'm talking about, man.
Every time I step in snow, it's always wet. Right now, I have plastic bags. I have a Myers plastic bag.
Nobody cares, Jeff.
On my right foot.
Nobody cares.
And I have a Big Lots or a, what is this? I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah, I know. Nobody cares.
I mean, if we took some callers, maybe they say they care. I don't think anybody cares.
Nobody cares. No. Right, nobody cares.
You know, I care because it keeps the mud off of my carpet.
But it is the Hook and not the Washington football team.
Oh, yeah.
Or
no, the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, right. Well, the Commanders, but I like the Washington football team better than I like.
Yeah, I think everybody did. Right. You know, but you know, they had to make a change.
Name changes are, we're going through that right now.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out if we should keep the Hook or change our name to something else, and that's how we came across laughing and joking about the Washington Commanders.
Right.
When they should just stay with the Washington football team. I think they've been getting a lot of slack, about that, because it is kind of a hokey name.
Yeah, it is.
The Commanders.
Commanders.
Yeah, I kind of like the Washington football team.
$1 billion organization.
And they look, and they had a study session, a round table, and a group. They went through all that junk. Yeah. What should we call it?
Right.
Let's call it the Commanders. Oh yeah, I like that. And somebody got paid money to come up with that name.
Real money.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Some marketing firm. Somebody, like what the
charged them a ton of money to come up with the Commanders. But maybe they didn't. We're just speculating. I don't know.
They found they were looking at a G.I. Joe and like the Commanders.
Well, look, we're probably lucky they didn't say Washington Commanders with the Kung Fu grip. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Washington because that's not our team. Our team is the Detroit Lions.
Oh, man.
And everybody knows what just happened.
I like to congratulate.
Everybody knows what just happened.
I like to congratulate.
Everybody knows what just happened.
We had one player from the Detroit Lions.
Now, that's the second one in 2 years.
No, right. We had
Ndamukong Suh. He won last year with Tampa Bay.
Right? Yeah. No, we had two. Well, he's from Detroit. He's not a Lion. Right. Okay. We had.
Well, I'm talking about former Lions.
Former Lion. Right.
Yeah. I don't care where they live from. Where they come from.
Right. And okay. I had my money on the other team.
The Cincinnati, we almost made it Bengals.
Yeah.
That's all right. I had mine on the Kansas City. We really aren't the Chiefs.
You know what? You are going to make me call the diva of sports.
We'll call the diva of sports or the sports diva, whatever.
Let me see here. Let's see. Let me call the diva. I'm going to put her on blast.
But anyway, we were sitting here thinking about it, and it just... you've been hearing about it ever since the Super Bowl is over. Matthew Stafford this, Stafford that. Here in Detroit, we had, the Ram Lion T-shirts, which I don't know who came up with that idea, but it sold like hotcakes. And I don't have one. It
sold like hotcakes?
Yeah, that thing was selling like crazy, man.
Man, come on, man.
Are you kidding me? Ram Lion T-shirts, number 9. But you got to give it to them. The boy played. And I was there watching the game like everybody else here in Detroit. We were watching it.
The diva. Okay, let's see if the diva. Yeah, we're making these
get a call out here. But yeah, everybody here in Detroit was watching it and trying to figure out what was going to be.
You've got 313.
Oh, she's not even here. All right.
Oh, okay, diva.
Yeah, she saw you. She saw it was Jeff calling. She didn't want to talk to Jeff. Nobody wants to talk to Jeff. I'm only talking to Jeff. Well.
Because we're doing a podcast, right?
If it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't talk to you.
And guess what? There's a little fly on the. There's 2 of them. No. That looks like something else.
That's a little dead
Cannabis. No.
That's not cannabis. It might be cannabis.
A cannabis seed.
I doubt it.
Well, we don't even see seeds in cannabis anymore.
I'll go with the flies.
Yeah.
I don't smoke. But anyway, so here in Detroit, where everybody was, some people were rooting for Matthew, some were going against him, hoping he would fail, because for 12 years here, we've suffered the slings and arrows of ups and downs of the greatness of Matthew Stafford and the lows of Matthew Stafford. Me personally, I could care less if he had won or not. There were moments when he was, can't get it done, Stafford, and then there were moments like that last drive when he and Cup hooked up for like 4 or 5, 6 passes straight. He was just freaking magnificent. And I can't take anything away from the boy. The boy was dynamite on that last drive. He and Cup were incredible. But I did not expect
I would like to say he was probably dynamite, for the entire season, actually. I mean, he did lead his team to a Super Bowl. He got him there.
He gets credit for leading the team.
He gets credit.
Don't forget, they pulled in Miller from Denver.
Von Miller.
Miller.
Mm-hmm.
They hooked him up with Donald. So the defense was running on like diesel trucks.
And we got the receiver.
Yeah, they brought in OBJ.
Right.
Even though he hurt himself in the first half, he scored a touchdown.
Yes, he did.
So he earned his ring. So, they built that team. They made it a super team. Like everybody complains about basketball, stacking the teams to be super and all that, making super teams. Los Angeles made themselves a super team, and it paid off. And Matthew Stafford is the beneficiary of it.
Well, no, matter of fact,
he
is the
Donald.
beneficiary of it. But he was one of he was the catalyst.
He was a key component.
He was the key guy in the building of this team. I mean, look, I wasn't a big Matthew Stafford fan, but now I have to say, it's not just Matthew Stafford.
Well,
it's proven.
Yeah, that proves the point.
If we would have put some talent around Matthew Stafford,
not just one receiver.
Right.
Well, we had Golden Tate, so we had a couple.
If we would have put some talent around Matthew, maybe people would have been talking about the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl.
I think the talent was around him. I just think he didn't have time enough to use the talent. Anytime you drop back and before you can, lift your arm up, there are 2 defenders coming at you, and you either have to duck, throw it away, throw an interception, and try to run. You just don't have time to, to make a decent play.
Look.
He didn't have time. There were always people in his face. But still,
that wasn't the case all the time.
No, I was getting ready to say.
Go ahead.
I was getting ready to say, but still, there were times when he would, he just missed receivers, overthrew receivers, threw it behind receivers. So he wasn't perfect here. So and his record here is ridiculous. So
you're never going to be perfect.
Tom Brady was
Goff went to the Super Bowl with that same Los Angeles team.
Not the same.
I was about to say minus
Von Miller,
minus
OGB,
minus
OBJ,
minus
who else?
Defensive lineman.
No, they had Donald.
No, I know they had Donald, but they didn't have the DN.
Miller.
No, not Miller. The other one.
I can't think of that.
I can't remember his name either. But anyway, they had minus key components.
Right.
But he still went to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff.
So what are you suggesting? There was more coaching or more determination from the players or what?
A combination of both. Mm-hmm. A combination of both. Now, prior to that, we didn't have any complaints about Matthew Stafford during the era of your frat brother.
Oh, no, we didn't. No, we did have a lot of them. Well, not so much about Matthew. They were too busy complaining about frat.
Caldwell was a great... Caldwell.
That's it. What do you think about the space Caldwell?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Caldwell. a super coach.
Well, he was the best we've had in a long
Super
long
Bowl
time.
coach.
Yeah, he was.
He came from the tree of who?
Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy. And he took the Lions to 9-7.
11-5 first, 9-7
2 years in a row.
Yeah, but that wasn't good enough. He got them to where they should be, but they needed somebody. Who was that? They need to lift them over, get them past 9-7. What was the guy's name?
Anyway, he's back in New England.
Is he back there?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness.
As a coordinator.
Oh, might as well do something he was good at.
As a coordinator.
Well, he's a rocket scientist, so
right. He's a great coach. He comes from the Belichick tree.
Well, you know how that goes. Look at the line of the Belichick tree with all the coaches that left underneath him and became head coaches.
None of them have won Super Bowl.
Was successful.
That's right.
So that goes without saying that Belichick is a great coach, but his underlings are not head coach material. But still, we're here to talk about Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, I'm happy for the boy. He did a good job, I thought. I didn't see him the whole season, but the games I saw, moments of greatness, moments of brilliance, and then I saw the typical moments where he was still throwing behind people, missing passes, missing receivers, making bad judgment calls and so forth like that. So I'm in agreement with what you were just saying. You give him time, you give him talent, and he's a winner. And he proved it. 1 year away from Detroit. 1 year away. No. He becomes a Super Bowl champion after 12 years with a franchise.
But I understand what you're getting to. I see where you're going, but again, and I hate to just harken back on.
Say it.
Yeah. I got to go back to the Caldwell years when Matthew Stafford was a very effective quarterback, and what I mean by a very effective quarterback is what we've seen on his way to the Super Bowl, a guy that was surrounded by, I wouldn't say a plethora of talent, but quality individuals, quality talent, and he made it without, making a whole lot of mistakes. He didn't do it. He didn't make a whole lot of mistakes. He was pretty consistent through the whole year and everything.
Talking about this year or a Caldwell era?
No, I'm in the Caldwell era too, because 11, like you said, 11-5 and
9-7,
9-7. I think that's pretty consistent. I think that's playoff worthy in a lot of cases with a lot of other teams.
Now let me ask you: you think it's since he had success with Caldwell and obvious success in L.A., you think it's the coaching, or do you think it's basically the fact that in L.A. he had a ton more talent on not just on the receiving core, but on the offensive line and the defensive line, and a pretty good.
Well, I pretty much know it's. I believe.
L.A. was a pretty well balanced team. Balanced team.
They were, but I have to say it's the coaching, and I have to say it's having a head coach who's a offensive minded coach. A lot of your defensive minded coaches who are head coaches now in the NFL are not winning a whole lot of football games. Mm-hmm. More so offensive-minded or head coaches who come from the offensive side of the ball are guys that are more successful than those defensive coaches and coaches that come from the defensive side of the ball.
Now, do you think it also has to do with the age of coaches as well as the being offensive or defensive? Because the two coaches who were in the Super Bowl this year were two of the youngest coaches in the NFL.
And they were both offensive
Coaches.
minded coaches.
Yeah. Because, Andy Reid has been there, been in
And Andy
in the
Reid
playoffs
is
for 4 or 5 years straight.
is an
But he's an
offensive.
older guy.
Yeah, he's an older guy, but he's an offensive minded.
So your point is that you basically need an offensive minded coach to kind of push it through, to push that team to the next level.
Not just your coordinator, it has to be an offensive head coach.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You need a head coach who is basically from the offensive side of the team
Right.
to kind of get you to.
To get to that next level.
But yeah, what about the saying defense wins games? Defense wins championships. What about that saying? You don't believe that anymore?
I believe that, but I believe that. But all I'm saying is that you have to, I'm saying that you have to have an offensive-minded coach, head coach, to make those decisions when it comes down to making those key decisions or plays. You got to have somebody that can communicate with that quarterback on the quarterback's level. Your offensive your offensive coordinator, it's a that you got to go up through the head coach to get that final call.
Right.
In a lot of cases, I know that. Hey, the offensive coordinator is in that quarterback's ear. He's the offensive coordinator. He should know, but when it comes from the head coach, it makes a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, but a lot of head coaches just turn it over, the play calling over, and they just kind of pretty much step back out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you think is happening in Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh has gone from a dominant force?
No, Ben Roethlisberger got old.
Yeah,
he couldn't do anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't run the offense. And Tomlin, and he saw it. He had to let it go.
Yeah.
He did the best thing. He let Ben ride himself out. He let him go.
So you think Tomlin did that on purpose? Another frat brother. You think he did that on purpose and just let Roethlisberger burn himself up?
He didn't burn himself out. He just let him.
Let him be.
Right. He let him be. I think he did that as a favor to Roethlisberger, because he knew when it was time for him to hang it up. I think if he would have tried to go another year with Pittsburgh, I think Tomlin might have said,
"It's time.
It might be time for you to hang it up."
Okay, well, let me ask you this: if you think they would have had a winning season, and didn't mean to get off of the Matthew Stafford track and all, but you know how things go. If Pittsburgh had had a winning season, do you think Tomlin would have let Roethlisberger stay in there, or he would have said, we got a chance to win this one, and Roethlisberger is starting to show signs of age and inability? Do you think he would throw him in the second?
He would have had the final say in that.
Yeah.
It would have been his. It would have been his call if they would have pulled him.
Yeah.
And you would see that, and it was getting to that point. But it was getting to that point with Pittsburgh too.
Yeah.
You would have had. He knew he knew it was beginning to be that time where that a quarterback change was going to be evident. And
why do you, I thought Roethlisberger's years. Roethlisberger. How do you say that boy's name? Roethlisberger.
You really messed me up. Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger.
I'm gonna call him Hamburger. No,
I'm watching you.
I'd be mad if somebody was messing over my name. I'm sorry, Roethlisberger. But I'm just gonna call him
Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger, right?
Okay.
But do you think that Tomlin should have just pretty much at the beginning of the season should have set Ben and gone with the backup and seen where it was gonna go from there? Because you could see it. You could see it years ago where Ben was starting to just. His performance is going down.
Yeah,
down.
well, that happens.
So why do you keep hanging on? Just because it's a name, he's won a couple of Super Bowls, but those were years ago.
Yeah, well, that depends on who you are. I understand what you mean. Sometimes I mean, when you have greats like that, especially with teams like Pittsburgh and Green Bay, you know what I mean? Like Bart Starr and Favre and guys like that. It's just so hard to say, well, I'm going to put this.
But that's the business,
guy in.
Man. That's the business.
It is.
They don't have a problem doing it with coaches, especially here in Detroit.
It is the business, and your job pretty much depends on that too, as a head coach, and the timing of it. You know,
and so you're not just looking out for your quarterback's feelings or career. You're looking out for your own. Because if your quarterback fails and your team fails, what does that say about you as a coach?
But
you're failing. So instead of getting rid of them, what do? They get rid of the coach.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing, and
So you've got to start making calls that are going to be more for your benefit, I think, as opposed to the benefit of the quarterback and stuff like that.
Nah.
Sometimes you just need to go ahead and make that change.
If you have the heir apparent to Ben,
which they didn't,
and the transition could be a smooth transition, you make that move. Because you're not only thinking about Ben, and you want to do right by Ben. Because he's been 18 years. He's been the Steeler, the face of the Steelers. Mm-hmm. And you want to do, I mean, as a head coach, I'm not thinking about my job itself. I'm thinking about Ben. I'm thinking about the franchise and the next guy that's coming up.
But the one
and then I'm thinking about myself.
But the one thing, I guess the one safety net that Tomlin has, is that he's the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's with a great organization.
Unquestionably, probably the greatest owners in football.
Yeah, but
because they have a degree of loyalty to their coaches.
Absolutely,
uncontested.
But when you look at it, I think every coach wrestles with the same things that Tomlin wrestled with when making a transition from one quarterback to another, especially when a quarterback as a guy like Ben Roethlisberger. And do you have his replacement?
Yeah, I get
it. I mean, do you have a guy that's going to come in, or do you just have the replacement guy that's not going to be the guy to transition you into the next era of Pittsburgh Steelers football? Mm-hmm. That guy that's sitting behind Ben was not the guy that was going to take you to the next era of Pittsburgh football. So the guy that's going to take you to that next era, I don't know where the hell he is right now. He's somewhere in college. They're probably drafting him right now, which they are, and which they did. Mm-hmm. I believe they did get a quarterback in this year's draft. In previous years, they might have drafted a guy, but they didn't know whether he was going to be good enough to take over for B.
So in previous years, they were just back drafting a safety net, a temporary catch in case something happened to Ben for a couple of days. But now they're out there really looking for.
Well, they have to. No more Ben.
Right.
So it's no more Ben. So you really, I mean, hey, they've been looking. Mm-hmm. They've been looking for that guy. I think every year as a coach or as an organization, you got to look for that next guy. Mm-hmm.
All right, since we've gotten off of Matthew Stafford, which I again say I'm happy for him, and we're gonna try and get the sports diva on to talk about that more. But the Chiefs. Let's just talk about football. Just pick somebody. Where are they going? I mean, because they've been there 4 years straight, and the last couple of years they have just, floundered. It's almost like everybody finally figured out, your boy. And and the team, the speed, Tariq Hill and I can't remember the quarterback's name.
The Chiefs quarterback.
Yeah, Mahomes.
Yeah, Patrick.
I don't know why I lost his
Patrick
name.
Mahomes.
Everybody's figured out Mahomes, and
Well-
they figured out how to beat him and how to play him. Is Andy Reid not making the right adjustments? Is he not there anymore? Is it time for him to hang up his hat and let somebody else take the realm and lead them, get them past?
I don't think it's time for Andy Reid just
You
yet.
think he's gonna win another Super Bowl? I don't.
Well, today I was looking at something online, and it was, they were talking about owners and how many Super Bowls these guys have won under their leadership.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been very many. I mean, they're billionaires, but they can't say they got that ultimate prize.
Yeah.
It's not too many of them that get that ultimate prize. And I say this because, each year you get a new crop of kids coming in from college, thinking they're going to make the team and they're going to be their next
Superstars.
great superstar.
Will be the best shutdown corner ever.
And the NFL is not like that. Mm-hmm. The NFL is a league that's, and many of the players have said it, not for long. Not for
Not National
long.
Football League.
Not for long.
The NFL folks, not for long. And that's true. What's
Right.
the average career? 4 or 5 years?
4 or 5 years, and we, we've had guys here that report on the NFL. I know some players that played in the NFL. I know one of your frat brothers who was also an executive for the Detroit Lions. Mm-hmm. And maybe we can get him on the phone and ask a couple questions about, how does this actually work? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We can't ask him about what he thinks of the team itself.
What?
He wants to keep his job.
Well, he's no longer executive for
we
the
can ask him anything.
Right. He's back in the day.
Why they freaking suck?
He's with the back in the day band.
He went from dealing with football to dealing with music.
Hey, that's two different industries altogether, Yeah. But it's just a tough business, It's a very tough business to be in, and it's not that easy because guys they do it all the time. Each year different crop of guys come in thinking they can take over the world in the NFL, and it just doesn't happen that way. It just does not happen that way.
So any final words on old boy Matthew? We'll get back around to him right quick before we close out.
Matthew, I don't think he'll win another Super Bowl.
Do you think he cares? I just think he's glad he got that monkey off his back. I mean, you think about it. The boy has won more playoff games in the last 2 months than he has in 12 years. 12 years. So, do you think he really cares now?
I don't think he really cares.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Hey, you got one now.
I wouldn't be surprised if he retired.
What was Aaron Donald doing?
Yeah,
he was fitting that ring on his finger. Like, I got that ring now.
Yeah,
he's fitting it,
and he may retire.
And he's talking. Then the next thing they talking about, he's going to retire. Mm-hmm. I got that ring.
There's nothing else to do.
Hey, what more is it to do? Win another ring.
Well, that's hard to do.
Now I got 2 rings.
Yeah.
But it all has to come together.
Yeah.
It all has to come together.
Yeah, and that's a difficult thing to do to win multiple, let alone, go back to back, but just to.
Well, Tom Brady,
Well, I mean, he and Belichick were a special combination, and Belichick had a way of getting the best out of, low-rated players. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that. I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
Right.
And then he had Mr. Magic, and they protected him. And it's like I used to tell people all the time, I think Brady's great. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's any more special than anybody else. But if you ever watch his games, Brady would stand in the backfield like the Statue of Liberty. He had, what's the average release time? You got to get the ball out in 3 seconds, 4 seconds?
Something like
He'd
that.
be back to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds.
Right.
Before he had to release it because nobody could get to him. Right. But whenever somebody got in his face, he crumbled like a piece of paper.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to. Go down, don't get hurt.
Yeah. But
Protect the investment.
I just said that to say this, that any quarterback can be as great as Brady and
Patrick
Mahomes and old boy in Green Bay who I can't stand, Rodgers,
right.
When you've got time. But now, granted, they had gifts. They were very talented. They knew how to play the game. They knew how to read the defenses. And they knew how to get out of trouble and release the ball, hit people on time, and so forth like that. So the combination of the two made them really, really great, makes them really, really great quarterbacks.
Right. I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. You know.
Okay, man. Well, I guess that's it for this one.
That'll do it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say about it.
Me either.
I mean, I'm a little happy for our boy Matthew Stafford. Like I said,
he has his pom-poms with him, folks.
Yeah, maybe Miss Stafford will quit complaining in social media.
She's not complaining anymore.
She ain't yelling
She
anymore.
Jumped in his arms.
We got that monkey off our back,
folks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the podcast world, this is Keith Butler and my co-host, Jeffrey Lowe.
Jeff Lowe.
And we'd like to thank you again for listening to The Hook.
The Hook.
And
the hook.
We're going to try and get back with you again.
The Hook.
Stay with us, and we'll talk to you again soon. And remember, if they ask you where you heard it,
you caught it on The